Well, we can talk about the lawyers in just a second, but $40 million, that is the price NBC is rumored to be facing to sever ties with Conan O'Brien, and the deal isn't even done yet. But what will NBC's late-night shakeup cost GE and Comcast? Tuna Amobi from the S&P joins us now to help answer that question. Tuna, what does this mean for these two companies?
Well, I think, obviously the way that this is played out over the last few months and years has been, a nightmare, and it would be a nightmare for any network. So I think if you're NBC, you're trying to pick up all the pieces together, and it's been a long road for them. They already had a lot of problems before this most recent debacle. So my expectation is that they're going to be very aggressive, in this upcoming pilot season, trying to reprogram their shows, etc. For Comcast, I think it's a little different. I think if you look at the pending transaction for NBC and Comcast, we've actually had a chance to speak to Brian Roberts and some of the Comcast senior management right after the deal was announced. Our takeaway is that the company is basically adopting a kind of a hands-off approach pending the closure of the deal. And my sense is that even after the deal closes, Comcast management is not going to want to meddle too much because at the end of the day, they realize that this is a totally different business from what they've been used to. But, all told, I think the turn of recent events, and the losses that NBC has sustained as a result of this, debacle, I think it's really been stunning for a lot of investors.
Tuna, did Comcast actually get a good price, a devalued price for NBC? After all, the network doesn't really make any money, but boy, those cable ops really are like printing money. So was it a fair price, a good price for Comcast?
That's been a recurring question that I've gotten. On balance, I think that Comcast did come away with what we consider an attractive valuation, given the valuation that they obtained for their own cable network, $7.25 billion. For the cable networks that Comcast is bringing to the table. And we surmise that the valuation of NBC is just a little bit modestly higher than some of the private market deals that we've seen. And obviously, if Comcast were to acquire NBC just even 3 or 4 years ago, we believe the premium on that deal would have been significantly more. So it seems like a situation where timing really worked out in Comcast's favor, which is why I think you've seen the reaction of Comcast shares since the deal was announced.
Well, let me ask you something. Oh, I'm sorry, David.
Do you think it's actually a better decision to bring Jay Leno back? Do you think this for NBC actually helps NBC get ratings and bring in more advertising dollars?
Well, as they say, money talks. So it came down to, the greenback for a decision based on that for NBC. Obviously, the ratings, the way the Conan O'Brien's ratings have unfolded have been far from optimal. And also the Leno's primetime show, that turned out to be a very ill-advised experiment. So from NBC perspective, I do believe they're making an economic decision, which is justifiable in the light of the way that...
Is it going to come back and haunt them? I mean, Conan O'Brien does well in the young demo. He goes to Fox or someplace else.
Then that changes the game. But I have to ask you, though, I want to get back to the thing. I don't have a lot of time with you, Tuna, but when you had your conversations with Comcast executives, did you get any sense from them that they would not keep Jeff Zucker in any way, shape, or form? You said they don't want to meddle, but did Jeff Zucker's name in particular come up?
Well, I can tell you that they spoke very highly of Jeff Zucker, and as well as a lot of other NBC Universal senior management. Obviously, what they ultimately decide to do, they may be keeping that to their chest. But I would almost bet that you're not going to see dramatic changes immediately at NBC Universal after the deal closes, simply because I don't believe that Comcast has a deep enough bench of its own. So my sense is they're going to try to keep Zucker as long as is necessary to continue to run the ship. Pending further changes. So that's obviously a valid question which a lot of people are asking.
I'll be interested to see what your research note comes out next time. Tuna Amobi, thank you very much from S&P. Appreciate
Thanks
it,
for
sir.
having me.
Where's Bob Wright right now?
Yeah,
Somebody call Bob Wright.
Bob Wright has got to feel awful about